Dr. Peter Josling. He is a biochemist, and he's worked for over 25 years in the international health food and supplement area. He's written several books. He's authored and contributed numerous scientific articles. He is well known in the United Kingdom as a leading expert in natural medicine. He has worked in several areas and written studies on a wide variety of natural products such as vitamin C, black elderberry, magnesium, allicin from garlic. He has just designed so many products that have been incredibly useful that we are delighted to have him here today to talk about allergies. So welcome, Dr. Josling.
Thank you very much indeed. It's indeed an honor to be invited along today to talk to you, and I just hope you can understand my quaint English accent.
We understand you just fine, and if you could speak up just a tiny little bit, you're a little soft, and we had a couple folks say they were having a little trouble hearing you, but otherwise everything's just fine.
Okay, right. Well, in that case, I think it's probably best that we start off. And what we're going to talk about today is probably one of my most favorite compounds that I've ever been involved with over 25 years in the health food industry all over the world. It's such a simple solution, and it works so well that there really is nothing to sneeze about. It really is a very safe and effective natural allergy relief compound. And from my point of view, if you have something that's really simple and it works, then it's much easier to be able to bring that to a wider audience, and they understand exactly why the compound can give them relief. So today's talk is really all about allergy, and in particular seasonal allergic rhinitis, or hay fever as it's more commonly known. And unfortunately, it's a very common disease. And for those of you who are not quite sure exactly what causes it and how it happens, normally it's an allergy to something in the air. So it'll be pollen from the trees, or pollen from the grass, or pollen from flowers that basically comes into your nose, your ears, your eyes, and your mouth. And once it gets inside that area, that is the window to your immune system. So what happens is the allergens come in and they land in your normal mucus, and they penetrate deep down into the layers of the skin, and they react with various antibodies, and that causes an allergic response from your lungs. And if you think about it, all your lungs really want is fresh, clean air. And if your nose is unable to filter out all of these allergens, then inevitably, as you breathe, you will take these allergens back down into the lungs eventually. And what will happen is you'll release histamine to try and get rid of these allergens. And by the relief of histamine, you cause all sorts of side effects like that runny nose, that itchiness in the back of your throat, a rash sometimes. It obviously constricts your respiratory airways. Basically, your blood vessels do expand and you get edema. And you increase the amount of mucus that's released from your nose. So yes, your nose starts to run. And that's a classic allergic reaction to usually a pollen from the air. But as we now know and have known for many years, allergies can be caused by all sorts of different things. That can include things like latex, for example. It can include different types of jewelry. Some people can't wear yellow gold, for example. But the other big area that's very, very common, as we'll see in a few minutes, is what we call animal dander. So if you have a cat or a dog or a rabbit or a guinea pig or anything that has a furry nature to it, then you can be allergic to the small amounts of fur that the animal releases. It can be an allergy to plants. It can be an allergy to foods. It can be an allergy to medication. And of course, we all know about nut and shellfish allergies, which can be actually deadly if you don't know about it. So it's very important that we understand if we have an allergy to something. And obviously, you know, there are things like bee stings. Some people won't react at all. Some people react really, really badly. And the same is true with bites and stings from other insects and animals as well. For example, with flea bites, some people respond dramatically and get massive, big wheals on their skin, but some, we always say, who don't have sweet blood, don't really react much at all. But generally today I'm going to be talking mostly about animal dander and pollen and dust inhalation, because these are major problems across the world. And it's estimated that in every country in the world, around about 18% of people will be allergic to things that are airborne, so pollen and flower pollen and grass pollen, etc. So in the United States, where you guys are all listening, we reckon there are probably 50 million people who have nasal allergies, and that comes from the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. So those figures are probably an underestimate, and the CDC suggests that about 17 million people are diagnosed with hay fever. I think that's definitely an underestimate. I would expect the number to be almost double that in the United States. Obviously, there'll be hotspots around the country, but as we'll see at the end of this presentation, all across the United States, there are different types of trees, different types of pollens, and that would mean even if you're moving around the state, you could be in an area all year round where you would be allergic to something in the air. So I think 17.6 million is definitely an underdiagnosis. But nonetheless, it's a lot of people. It's also estimated that around 10 million adults and children who have pets are actually allergic to those pets. So imagine the trauma of having 2 or 3 cats or a couple of dogs and not really being able to pet them and sit with them in front of the TV in the evening because you keep sneezing all of the time. Not a very pleasant situation to be in. So you can see that this is potentially a major problem in the United States. And they suggest that about 13 million visits to physician offices and hospital outpatient departments are basically due to what we call allergic rhinitis. So that doesn't cover asthma or eczema or ectopic eczema or different types of rhinitis. It's just purely and simply allergic rhinitis. So when you add all of these conditions together, the numbers are really very, very significant. And that's why if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, there are literally dozens and dozens of antihistamines, anticholinergics. There are dozens of inhaled steroids. There are huge numbers of inhaled liquids that are meant to be decongestant and anti-allergic. But of course, with any pharmaceutical, there are side effects, and the side effect profiles are quite substantial in certain aspects. So, as we've just said, antihistamines, decongestants, anticholinergics, combinations of all of these drugs are used to treat hay fever or seasonal allergic rhinitis. Now, the original group of drugs that were first invented were the anticholinergics, and they obviously block the action of acetylcholine. That's a chemical messenger. By doing that, they decrease mucus production, so your nose doesn't run so much. But unfortunately, acetylcholine is necessary for normal function of your body, so and in particular the neurological system. So the side effect profile of these particular type of drugs is very substantial, so much so that even today, as you can see from the next slide, in 2015 there was another paper published in JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association, that showed that cumulative use of strong anticholinergics and the incidence of dementia. So the longer we use these drugs, the more we realize how toxic they are to our bodies. Now, they may give some relief in terms of seasonal allergic rhinitis, but at what cost? Do we really want to compromise our long-term health for what might be just a very short-term gain? And this is why the cholinergics were really pretty much dismissed in terms of treating seasonal allergic rhinitis about 25 years ago, really, when antihistamines came out. Now, oh, sorry, I've gone a little bit too soon there. I'm saving the best for a couple of minutes, I apologize. But the other group that's commonly used are, of course, the antihistamines. And in the old days, antihistamines were incredibly tiring. They would cause you to fall asleep almost instantly. And so for young people, for middle-aged, for elderly people, these were not an ideal type of drug. They might work quite efficiently. They might control your hay fever, your allergic reaction, but you did get very, very tired. So in the last 10, 12 years or so, the drug industry has spent billions on research and development of what they call non-sedating antihistamines. Now, they call them that, but of course that is a barefaced lie, because even in today's modern world, we know that these drugs still cause tiredness, irritability, and they are not perfect. So what we're really looking for is something that can control the symptoms of hay fever, like sneezing, like a runny nose, like that sore, itchy throat, like feeling tired, like having your eyes watering, feeling bunged up, congested all of the time, but without the side effect profile that you see from most modern and indeed nearly all old-fashioned pharmaceutical drugs. And that is really what you have with cellulose. Now, this is what we call a safer, drug-free alternative. This is not a drug. I emphasize that very heavily. This is what's known as an inert substance. And by that, I mean that it has no pharmacological activity whatsoever. That means that it works without compromising your body and the way it works in any way, shape, or form. So this particular brand is the world's first powdered nasal spray. So it's a powder. It's not a liquid. It's a very fine white powder. We'll show you more about that in a few minutes. But it is a specific grade of what's known as HPMC, hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. Now, cellulose is everywhere. Any of you who've ever taken a drug or an over-the-counter tablet or capsule will have taken cellulose. Any of you who've eaten in an Italian restaurant will have eaten cellulose. In fact, in many restaurants, cellulose is part and parcel of most of the diet. It does come from a vegetable origin, and it has been now proven, and I'm going to show this to you, to be a very extremely excellent treatment for both prevention and treatment of allergic rhinitis in particular. So what happens is the powder is inserted into your nose with a very clever patented device that allows the spray to be entered into the nasal cavity, and that forms a protective gel layer. So as soon as the powder reaches a moist environment like the inside of your nose, the powder immediately turns into a gel, a bit like an aloe vera gel or any kind of gel that you can think of that you know about. It looks like that, and when I do a demonstration to people around the world, I put a little bit of powder on the back of my hand. I take a couple of drops of water, rub it into the powder, and instantly, literally in a flash, you see that it changes into a gel. And it can be quite a sticky little gel. So that's exactly what happens when you put it up inside your nose. It turns into a gel, and it stays there for some considerable time. And that means that it can trap all of these toxins and pollens that come in through the nasal cavity. It's inert, as I said, no pharmacological activity. It works very quickly, literally within 2 or 3 minutes. And so far, the only side effect is you get better. And that's quite a pleasant side effect to have in any kind of natural compound. So, here's a couple of pictures to whet your appetite, if you like. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see an electron micrograph of the microcellulose powder when it's dry. You can see that the shapes of the particles vary significantly. They are sometimes quite small, but in general, they're around about 30 to 40 microns in size. There's absolutely no chance, by the way, of those particles going back down into the lungs. We've actually proven this in controlled trials in England, I think it was, and we know that there's absolutely no involvement with the lungs, the brain, or any other organs. So there's no need to worry about snorting a white powder up your nose. Yes, I'm going to make my classic joke that this is the only white powder that you can legally sniff up into your nostril. So hopefully you're all laughing across America now. I know there's a couple on the Isle of Man who will be smiling. And anyway, on the right-hand side, you can see that after exposure to a damp or wet surface, i.e. the inside of your nasal cavities, just above the little tiny hairs in the lower part of your nose, is very, very moist. It's beautifully supplied with blood, and it is the window to your immune system. So you can see there from that picture that the white powder has begun to spread, and we really need a third picture here, because within literally less than 30 seconds, that whiteness disappears into a see-through transparent gel-like compound that when you look at it under the microscope, to all intents and purposes, it's exactly the same as your normal mucus that you have in your nasal passages anyway. Now, we believe that hay fever sufferers have patches in their nasal cavities where the amount of mucus they release is reduced. And what this powder does is it covers those areas and the rest of the nasal cavity, and that powder becomes the gel, and that's effectively an extra barrier to the pollens and the environmental toxins that are going to be flying into your nose if you're an allergy sufferer. And if you're not an allergy sufferer, then normally your mucus would trap all of these things, and every 15 or 20 minutes or so, they get wiped back down into your gut, where anything nasty that's come into your nose will get destroyed. This is called mucociliary clearance time, and inside your nasal cavity, you will probably know that you have millions of little things called cilia, and they beat all of the time. They're pumping, they're beating away. They're little hairs that move around all of the time, and they basically are responsible for clearing all of the rubbish from your nose and sweeping it down into the gut where it can get destroyed. So I have a question here. We're going to leave these to the end, I believe, so I'll carry on. This is where I first became involved with HPMC, or this particular cellulose powder, which is unique, by the way. There are lots of different types of cellulose, but this one in particular is particularly good at preventing seasonal allergic rhinitis because of its characteristics, the way it's been manufactured, the way it's packaged, the way it's delivered, and its action once it's inside the nasal cavity. Now, I was fortunate enough to produce the first ever controlled clinical trial on this product. The inventor, a very splendid gentleman who spent many years trying to bring this to market, eventually found a team who could help him significantly, and they found me. And I said, wow, I'd love to do some controlled work on this particular product because it seemed so simple and yet an obvious, logical way to give the lungs what they want, which is good, fresh, clean air. That's all your lungs want. They don't want any of the pollens, any of the environmental toxins. They don't even want funguses, viruses, or bacteria that also come into the nasal cavity. And what the gel does is it filters all this lot out, and it gets swept down into your gut and gets excreted in the normal way. So I'm lucky enough to have done and had published the first ever clinical trial, 88% success rate, by the way, for patients with chronic seasonal allergic rhinitis. 88% of them said that this was the best product they'd ever used to control their hay fever symptoms. Since then, I've also been lucky enough to supervise all of the protocols in the trials that have been done since then. And of course, I've been able to present at international conferences and at national meetings around the world. And I've been involved in lots of other clinical evaluations of this particular cellulose powder in lots of different areas where you might not think it was an obvious application, but it is. And, you know, now is not the time to talk about that, but perhaps if I do a good job today, I might get invited back in the future, who knows. So I've been around this compound for a long time. I know how it works. I know how efficient it can be. And the most important thing to understand is that it's not new. It's been around since 1994 in the UK. It's even prescribable over here in the UK, and that will be reimbursed by the government for treatment of allergic rhinitis. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, it is a special kind of cellulose powder. It's currently available in over 60 countries worldwide, and in the USA, it's now approved by the FDA as a medical device registered product. So that's really encouraging. It means that it can be given to a much wider audience, and that means that more and more people will realize that A, they can prevent these symptoms, and B, if they're unlucky enough to be exhibiting symptoms, they can add this cellulose into current treatment if they prefer, or they can even use the cellulose on its own, and that should get rid of various symptoms, more of which we'll talk about in the next few minutes. So, the nice thing about an inert powder is that it means it has no side effects effectively, and that means it can be used by everybody. Anybody who has allergic rhinitis or generates the symptoms of allergic rhinitis. I'll give you one quick example here. In my study, a lot of people who took part in the trial didn't have allergic rhinitis at all. What they had was a mild allergy to the hay in their stables where they kept their horses. So, you know, for pet dander and animal dander, this is also an ideal way of treating it without using any pharmacological alternative. So the nice thing about it is that children of a very young age can use the product from about the age of 18 months onwards, no problem at all. Obviously, for a young child, you will have to instill the powder yourself, but it's very simple, very easy. It's actually quite pleasant. It's not unpleasant in any way, shape, or form. And also, that means you can use it all the way through pregnancy and breastfeeding. So this is a crucial point, because can you imagine what it must be like to be 7, 8 months pregnant and suffering from terrible hay fever, and yet knowing that your doctor is not allowed to prescribe anything to you because it would be far too dangerous for the baby. So now we have a safe, natural alternative that can be used all the way through pregnancy and breastfeeding, and of course it's useful in the elderly as well. I mean, there isn't really a bunch of people that it's not suitable for. Underneath you can see it's very good for students. Again, this is a major problem. I don't know what it's like in the USA, but in the UK, every year around April, May time, we get into exam season, and every year there's a report about the incidence of hay fever in young people and how it seriously affects their performance and their grades. So to be able to have a simple treatment, excuse me, sorry about that, a simple treatment that is safe, natural, and effective is perfect for students who are trying to concentrate, trying to get the best grade they can. It's also good for anybody that needs to operate machinery, because obviously those people, if they're treating their hay fever with pharmaceutical alternatives, then they may be getting rather tired, irritable, run down, worn out. And you don't want to be like that if you're driving or operating any kind of machinery. And then the other group is, well, dare I say it, tennis players, athletes, footballers, cyclists. You know, sports people have this huge long list of drugs that are forbidden. Some people don't even read that list, apparently. But the nice thing, again, about this HPMC cellulose is that it's perfectly natural. It could never be put on a banned list of compounds, even though I believe it does have the ability to help the body significantly, because I'll give you one example. Lewis Hamilton, Formula One driver, he suffers from terrible hay fever. And he says the worst race is in very hot countries, and he does use the UK equivalent sometimes to help relieve his symptoms. I know, because I gave him the product myself personally. So it's very good for sports people as well. Now, believe it or not, there are 25 trials on cellulose, this particular cellulose, in 7 countries. There's an 800-person study population, and also the company that invented this stuff sponsored a 3-year doctorate research program, and they continue to sponsor and support controlled clinical research on the product and how it works. We know exactly how it works now. We have a very good idea of exactly what happens once it's instilled into the nose. And this is, if you like, the equivalent of a pharmaceutical drug, except it's not a drug. You know, to have 25 trials is really quite remarkable for a natural product. You couldn't find many others that have a similar amount of controlled clinical data. So I do believe that it's a great product. I do believe it's got a lot of data behind it. And the reason for that is that most of these publications have been published in what are known as peer-reviewed scientific journals. In other words, the paper has been reviewed and approved by peers in that group and classed as being good quality research and therefore suitable for publication. Many of these studies have been presented at allergy congresses around the World Allergy Congress, the European Allergy Congress. Both American allergy meetings have been participated in several times. And the really nice thing about the cellulose is that it's been researched on children, teenagers, and adults. So we have a very broad range of experience across different types of people, and we get similar results in all groups. In other words, it works very, very well indeed. Most of these studies are double-blind placebo-controlled. You know what that means, I'm sure, that neither the recipient nor the researcher knows whether they're giving an active or a placebo. The field studies that have been done on grass pollen have been done on children, teenagers, and adults. We've also done challenge studies where we've actually introduced grass pollen or house dust mite allergen into the noses of volunteers to deliberately cause a reaction and then see how quickly they recover from that reaction, the allergic response, by using the powdered cellulose. Fantastic results in these studies particularly. We've also looked at studies on the mucociliary clearance time. So we know that if you're unfortunate enough to have damaged cilia in your nose, your mucociliary clearance time is enormous. And this is bad because it means lots of nasty things can sit in the nose for 30, 40, 50 minutes. And that obviously is going to make you open to infection, coughs, colds, flus, bacterial infection, fungal infections. A disruption of the nasal flora is very, very clear in patients who have poor mucociliary clearance. With the cellulose, this mucociliary clearance time is reduced down to almost normal. I think the figures go from about 28 minutes down to 14 minutes. It's incredible. Absolutely brilliant result. And obviously we've done studies on seasonal rhinitis and persistent rhinitis. So we know that for someone who suffers all year long, once they get onto this particular product, they're likely to get benefit all the way through the year. And it means that there's less chance of them needing what are known as rescue medications, i.e. a drug to control the symptoms. You should be able to control most of the symptoms alone, and if you can't, we have studies to show that you can add the cellulose into existing treatments and see better results. I'll show you a little bit of that in a few minutes. So, the key clinical research points really are that you get a reduction in sneezing, you get a reduction in itchy and runny nose, and you relieve sinus congestion. So those are 3 major clinical proven points. But the most important from my point of view is that it gives you your life back. You can get on with enjoying the spring and the summer. You can go out on fresh mown grass. You can go and play golf. You can go and smell fresh cut flowers without sneezing, without getting this horrible reaction that means you can't enjoy these things. So if you want to get out in the fresh air and enjoy yourselves, then powdered cellulose has got to be your answer that you've been looking for many years. So let's have a little bit more look at some of the results. Here you can see a graphic demonstration of exactly how you use the product. It's a small plastic bottle that contains the powder. It's a patented bottle. It's got a very, very clever delivery device in it, and there are features in the bottle that are patented worldwide. And you just simply squeeze the bottle, insert it into each nostril, and the powder goes up inside the nasal cavity. And then as the dust mite allergens and the pollen allergens come into the nose, basically what happens is your gel layer blocks the penetration of these allergens significantly by capturing them in the gel. So it's like having an extra layer of mucus. And the graph there, you can see that the amount of dust mite allergens with no barrier increases dramatically over 350 minutes. But with the cellulose powder, there's virtually no increase or very little over 350 minutes. So once you instill the product, it works quickly and stays there for a long, long time. And this was one of the papers presented at IACI as a poster, and it shows exactly what the cellulose can do. Now here, this is a study on dust mite allergy. This is where the dust mite was actually introduced into the nose of volunteers. And on the left, you can see that the average symptom score for runny nose in particular, from challenge, that's when it was instilled, to 4.5 hours later, the differences between cellulose in blue and placebo in yellow, dramatic. P equal to 0.05. That means if you repeat that study 500 times, you will get the same result. In other words, it's not a fluke. It's a genuine difference between the active and the placebo. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the number of patients showing no symptoms from challenge to 4.5 hours later. No symptoms at all. And remember, they've had dust allergen instilled into their nasal cavity. So these are, again, very significant. You can see the difference is amazing between the cellulose in blue and the placebo in yellow. And this was published in a very good journal in Medical Research and Opinion in 2007. And by the way, the author, Jean Emberlin, she is one of the world's leading experts on allergy. She's a complete expert. So, on to the next study. And here you can see, look, grass pollen allergy symptoms. Look at the placebo. The symptom score is over 7 and just reducing below 7. But in the fast block allergy group, look at the difference. A very significant release early, then this continues for days and days and days. So you can see that it's very, very good at symptom relief. And that is all we're trying to achieve, ladies and gentlemen, is to reduce the symptoms. And this study was published in the Archives of Allergy Immunology Journal in 2014. So that's quite a recent one. Now, moving on. Well, we know that children are a group that would generally be difficult to treat. No one wants to give our children drugs. We really don't want to do that. And in this particular study, 53 children were recruited between the ages of 8 and 18, and they were given. I think I'm right in saying this was the mobile phone group where they were texted messages to take their cellulose and to report their symptoms. And they just used 1 puff of the cellulose powder 3 times daily against a matched placebo. And the results, as you can see, were that allergy symptoms were effectively reduced, and in particular, reduced sneezing and runny nose, and no adverse effects were reported by the children. So it's perfectly safe for young children and for teenagers to take. So it's ideal during that heavy exam season between, in England, we start taking exams at 8, it seems to me. But in America, I know it's a bit later. But all the way through, you can see that young people will benefit significantly from a safe, natural alternative. Here we also have a study from Russia that looked at quality of life for hay fever sufferers. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, if any of you are sufferers, you'll know that it's not an easy thing to deal with. You dread the spring and the summer season because you know you're just not going to enjoy it. You wake up in the morning and immediately you can feel a tickle in your throat. That's the classic symptom that tells you it's going to be a bad day. And probably by the time you get up, have breakfast and get to work, you're likely to be in a full hay fever mode, coughing, sneezing, runny nose, runny eyes, etc. But here, you can see over the 4 checkups during this treatment period, every single time, all of the symptoms got less and less and less. So runny nose, sneezing, itchy nose, stuffy nose, itchy eyes, and tickling in the throat. All symptoms were reduced over the period of the clinical trial, and they were asked to give a quality of life assessment, and the quality of life was dramatically increased. And this was published in 2011 in the Russian Allergy journal. So, don't think that you're alone. People around the world suffer from allergy. Another study I wanted to talk about very briefly, again in children and teenagers. Here, the cellulose was applied to reduce symptoms and in relation to the pollen load. So here, again, 53 patients, 8 to 18 years, as I mentioned before, 25 in the active group, 28 in the placebo, reduction in sneezing and runny nose, and look, improved lower airways and blocked nasal relief. Now, that's the difference between going to school and enjoying the day with your friends or feeling miserable and bunged up all day long and can't wait to get out for a break to take an antihistamine or an inhaled steroid or an inhaled nasal spray, which cause side effects. Here, with the cellulose, there are no side effects. It's safe and easy to use. So, how does it work? Well, I think you've probably got the idea that as soon as you instill the powder into the nose, this powder changes into a gel on contact with moisture, and we know that the swelling velocity of this gel is very important, that the powder turns into a gel almost instantly. And we've done lots of experiments now to investigate the rate of swelling, what that does to the nasal cells. We've done this in physiological saline, which has the same pH as your nose, and indeed we've looked at how long this action persists. So we've got a very good idea as to how you should dose with cellulose, and on average we say 3 times a day is ideal. Now when you first instill it into your nose, sometimes you sneeze, in which case you need to blow your nose again and put it back in. We'll talk about that in a second. So, first of all, the swelling begins instantly and then slows down a little bit. But that barrier is formed immediately. So, over that 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hour period, the swelling continues to reinforce the barrier. And as you see pollens flying in and toxins and molds and things like that, you will then see that you filter all of these out. They get stuck in the new gel layer, and your normal mucociliary clearance, remember those cilia beating away like a drum, they will sweep down all of the pollen load right the way down into your gut where they get excreted normally. So the key factor is that the vast majority of pollen never reaches the lungs. So the lungs get what they want, which is clean air. You get to be able to breathe properly, which is what you want. And the nasty ones get swept down into the gut and get excreted, which is what we want. So it's all round, it works for pretty much everybody. Now, some of the most exciting work that's been happening in the last year or so is that because the cellulose produces a barrier, it's a layer, isn't it? Now imagine if you could hold something in that layer. Well, I came up with this idea about 12 years ago, actually. When I first looked at the cellulose, I immediately realized that you could hold other agents in there. Pharmacologically active agents and non-pharmacologically active agents. So here, there's a study recently published in Allergy and Asthma Proceedings on adding in a pharmaceutical drug called oxymetazoline, which is a decongestant. So if you are congested with a cold or with hay fever, you'll probably, if you're a drug person, you'll go to the doctor, he'll give you oxymetazoline, you'll take the drug, and you will get a decongestant relief. But in this study, there was a greater decongestant relief in patients using oxymetazoline and the cellulose powder. Okay, so when you put the two together, you get a better result. Why? Because obviously you trap the drug in the gel layer. That means the drug can sit there and work for longer. It doesn't get removed as quickly because when a drug goes into the nasal cavity, it can be absorbed instantly, much faster than going down through the gut. So this means that you're holding the drug in situ for longer and you get a better result. So we're very excited by this, although we're not into drugs particularly, but we do realize that there are lots of natural agents that we can trap in with the cellulose and can have some very, very interesting results. So you need to watch this space because we've been doing a lot of work in the last 3 or 4 years, and lots of exciting announcements will come, I'm sure, in the years to come. It's a really great time to be involved in such an interesting, safe, natural compound like this cellulose. So here, just to confirm, the idea of this mucoadhesive property is to prolong contact time between the drug and the mucosa, therefore increasing the local drug effect. So I think we can move on from there because, as I've explained, the idea is to slow down the activity of the drug so that it can work for longer, and that will give you more relief. So we now know then that cellulose powder enhances the decongestant effect of oxymetazoline in patients with allergic rhinitis, and 1 week of regular treatment, that's all it took, carries on for another week after its discontinuation. So there does appear to be some kind of time lag, which again warrants more research and development. And one of the nice things about the company that I'm involved with here is that they realize the benefits of research and development. They're willing to support clinical evaluations of their material because A, it works, B, it's useful for everybody to learn more about how it works, and C, of course, it means we can bring news to the medical community and to the retailers who sell it and to ordinary people who suffer normally from hay fever, allergic rhinitis, and various other types of rhinitis. So here are some of the main points from the other studies. It's very effective in children, definitely. It improves the quality of life in a very high percentage of patients. I would say that up in the 80s, the high 80s. We don't really see any adverse reactions. It's very safe to use in pregnancy, in young children. It also helps to prevent or control symptoms of allergic rhinitis. So that's seasonal, i.e. during the hay fever season, and also perennial, where you suffer all year round. And the same is true with dust mite allergy. This is the excuse to be able to go and get the Hoover out and clean everywhere, because you won't be suffering by sneezing as soon as you move that dust around. And again, this is in a significant percentage of people. So again, I would expect that figure to be up in the high 80s, possibly even higher, to be honest. And here, as I said, the allergy season across the United States is consistent. I mean, if you look at these dates, they're really from April through to November. But people can be allergic all year round. So I think it is a year-round product, but in these particular seasons, you can see that it's very important when you've got grass pollen all the way across the north of the United States, from May to August, and yet in January to June, it's all the way across the southern half of the states. You know, it's not. I don't think it's an electoral commission for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Don't think so. Excuse me for that one. Had to get that in. And so, basically, one of the nice things about this cellulose is that it's easy to use. People like it. They don't stop taking it. It's very, very simple to use. There are no significant adverse reactions. Some people can feel if they squeeze the bottle very hard, you can sometimes detect the powder in the back of your throat. It feels a bit funny sometimes, but that only lasts a few seconds, and most people never get to that state anyway. So as far as patient compliance is concerned, it's ideal, and this is the practical way to use this particular brand of cellulose. First of all, gently blow your nose, and as you breathe out, place a finger over one nostril and close it. Place the powdered bottle nozzle into the other nostril. Slowly but firmly push the sides of the bottle. The bottle is very easy to push, and basically what happens is you then deliver one puff of cellulose powder while inhaling gently. Do it outside first and see how easy it is to do. Then close your nostril, do one, wait 2 seconds, and then gently inhale and do the other nostril once you've inhaled the powder into your nose. And as soon as you've done that, immediately remember it's changing into a gel. You don't have to worry about that. It does it naturally in every patient, every single time, and you will then see the benefit and the relief very quickly after that. So I see we've got a few questions, and I think that's probably just the end. So to summarize, it's very good for seasonal and intermittent rhinitis. It's very good for perennial or persistent rhinitis. It can also help rhinoconjunctivitis. It can also help rhinitis where you have a very dry nose. And it may help in asthma, but we haven't actually completed any trials in asthma yet. But obviously allergic asthma, anything that causes symptoms of an allergy response, like eczema, for example, is the same, ectopic eczema. You would expect the cellulose to be beneficial in that respect. So always have an eye and an ear open for that, because it's certainly got a place to play, and I'm sure there'll be research to follow over the next few years. So in conclusion then, the cellulose powder has extensive clinical and scientific research and has been shown to be very effective in prevention and control of allergic rhinitis in children, teenagers and adults. It's very safe to use. It has no real side effects as such, and it does fit well with international guidelines, and in fact those guidelines may indeed be altered over the coming years to give the cellulose a more important part to play in the treatment of these allergic problems. So I think that's all from me for the moment, but I notice there's a few questions, so I guess it's over to you, Lexi.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Josling. What an incredibly informative presentation. It was just a delight to be able to hear you for the first time, and your enthusiasm for being able to help people with allergies recover a better quality of life is just contagious. So thanks so much, and I want to move on to some of the questions. So the first question has to do with, will the powder itself help with nasal congestion if your nose is already congested?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes, it will. You need to blow your nose, obviously, but you will find that it does help to relieve nasal congestion. It may not be as efficient as an inhaled steroid, for example, but in my study, patients preferred to use it to an inhaled steroid. They found that it worked better. So my answer to that would be an emphatic yes.
Absolutely, wonderful. And another question, even though your studies were not on molds, we have a lot of issues with mold allergies. Do you suspect that this would also be useful for people with mold allergies?
Yes, there's no doubt in my mind about that. Some of the other work that I've been involved with other formulations, if you like, with the cellulose, indicate that bacteria, viruses, and funguses, or molds, as you call them, would easily be trapped in the layer that the cellulose produces, and anything that's trapped in the layer, even if you've got congestion, those cilia in your nose will be pulsing and beating a little less quickly. But what you will do is you'll trap the mold in the cellulose layer, and as your mucus and the cellulose gets wiped down by the cilia down into your gut, the molds will be taken down into your stomach, and of course your stomach acid will completely destroy them. So yes, very good for blocking molds as well.
Excellent. So how many uses do you have per bottle?
As far as I remember, I think there's something like 200 doses available in a bottle. Each push of the bottle releases a controlled amount, but it's not a dedicated amount each time, so it varies. But on average, we know what the average dose delivered on each puff is. So that's more than enough to be able to deal with all of the conditions that we've been talking about this morning.
Excellent. We've had many questions about the name of the product and where it can be purchased. Thank you all for your interest. We will be glad to send you some information offline. We try to keep our Terry Talks Nutrition webinars third party without mentioning brand names specifically. We try to keep them more in the realm of let's explore the science. But no worries, we will send out additional information to those of you who have expressed an interest. So this is a question I received. It said, are there any tips to helping very young children use this product, children who are not used to using a nasal spray? Do you find that they are, do they do well with this? Because it is approved for use for children ages 18 months and older. So if you're dealing with a 2-year-old, I think what they're asking is it irritating to the nose, or will the child be pretty complacent with having this administered?
Children in general are very adaptive, okay? So they respond very easily. You will have to do it for them, obviously. So you just literally close one nostril, put the bottle a little way up the nose and squeeze, and then close the nostril. Then do the same with the other one. And generally, I've never had anyone complain about that. What I have had are mums who phoned me up and said, "This is amazing, this stuff. It works so well for my young child, or for more for 5 to 8 year olds." I had one case, one really interesting case. It was an 11-year-old, 8-year-old boy, yeah, and he was on 4 drugs. He was on 4 drugs a day, and his mum was very concerned about that, obviously, because one was a steroid, 2 were antihistamines, and 1 was an anticholinergic. So he was really, presumably, seriously allergic. And I said to her, look, I can't enroll him in the clinical trial because he's too young, but if I were you, I would try this now. I'll send you one, and just gradually reduce the dose of drugs over a period of about 10 to 14 days. And she did that. And 2 weeks later, she came back to me and said, "Dr. Josling, I can't believe this. He's just on the cellulose. Everything else has been removed, and yet he's healthier now than he's ever been." So for some people, this offers a route out of the pharmaceutical arena for control simply by a safe, natural, inert powder that comes from the very source that causes the allergy in the first place. The irony of that is very heavy as far as I'm concerned.
That's an amazing story because, I mean, as we find out more and more long-term effects of using these prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs in children, it's just such a boon to have something that can provide so much relief without any of those adverse effects. All right, let me just go through and make sure that I have not missed any of our questions. I do have several people that have sent me their contact information. Thank you. We'll make sure we get additional information out to you. We also have requests of how can they view this again. Was this presentation recorded? Yes, folks, it is. All you need to do is go to YouTube. Give us a day or two to get this uploaded. It may be yet today. It might be tomorrow. We have a Terry Talks Nutrition channel on YouTube where you can listen to this webinar or recommend it to your friends or send links to this webinar to folks that you think might be interested in in listening to this information about natural allergy relief. All right, just want to check through my questions. I've got them coming in, both my chat box and my Q&A box. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. All right, I think that we have answered all the questions, Dr. Josling. I want to thank you again for taking time out of your very busy day. Where are you right now geographically?
Oh, I'm in Spain at the moment, enjoying lovely sunshine, but it's a bit windy today.
Isn't it amazing with modern technology that you're in Spain and I'm in the United States and Wisconsin, and our listeners are from all over North America, and yet it's all like we're in the same room.
It is quite awesome, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be invited back to do another one sometime.
Oh, I would absolutely. We already have had requests in our Q&A box that please bring you back. So you've been absolutely delightful. We enjoy your information so much, and your style of presenting is so interesting. So I appreciate you taking time out of your sunny days in Spain to spend some time with those of us that are trapped in cold and wintry weather still. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your time in Spain. Bye-bye. And thank you, folks, for attending. Bye. And thank you, folks, for attending our Terry Talks Nutrition educational webinar on natural relief for allergies. And thank you for all of you who have said such kind things so that have sent us information about what a delightful presenter. I couldn't agree with you more. For additional information, feel free to contact us, and I hope you'll join us again on Thursday, April 7th with Dr. Adrienne Lopresti. We're going to go all around the world. We're traveling from Spain, and now we're going to Australia. Dr. Lopresti does a great deal of information and research on mental health and inflammation, and some of the products that he's worked with to help people with mental health issues as curcumin. So he's going to have some fantastic information from his studies. I appreciate you being interested, and if you need this information, don't worry, because since you are already on this presentation, you will be sent that information of how to sign up if you are interested. So I thank you all for your interest in natural health and natural medicine, and I hope that this has been an interesting webinar for you. So until we meet again, good health to you. Bye-bye.